Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. This is actually our first episode in our new home. We're super excited to be here at Adventure Unknown and be partnering with Punchline Productions here in Fenton, Missouri. So Sam and Corey and the amazing team at Punchline Productions, they're taking over all the back-end stuff that I had done for the last couple of years at Half Coast Studios. So massive thanks to Half Coast Studios, but excited about the next 3 years and beyond of what we're going to be doing here. Our title sponsor for the podcast is the Builders of Authority podcast is Go High Level, also known as GHL. GHL is the first ever all-in-one marketing platform that will give you the tools and resources you need to succeed and crush your marketing goals. This is software I have personally been using since 2020, and so many of our clients have used it as well. You can find a link for a free and extended 30-day trial in the show notes, with tons of Builders of Authority bonuses. So take advantage of this incredible software and adapt this technology to help grow your business. Today, we have a virtual episode coming to you via Zoom. This guest and I had the opportunity to meet back in June of last year at the thing in Nashville. We shared the stage speaking at that event, as well as the event in Orlando back in November. She is someone that always lights up the room and brings impact from the stage, leaving everyone in the audience with tactics, strategies, and education that she provides to help you win at both life and business. My guest today is Diana Alt. She is a no BS career coach for leaders in tech. Diana, thanks for joining the show.
All right. Thank you, Adam. I am so glad to be here. And I completely need to steal that intro. It's one of the best intros. I always love hearing what other people say because I think it says a lot about like what you're putting out into the world as an expert. So thanks for that. I am the No BS career coach for leaders in tech. I mostly focus on people that work in the corporate realm on either job searches, which is a huge thing in the tech industry right now, some sort of career pivot or transformation, and also work with people on just being better. So kind of your normal executive and leadership performance coaching. So been doing that for over a decade. My first client actually asked to pay me because I had been helping people for free back years ago. And they're like, I need to give you money so I'll be accountable. So just grew from there. So
that's awesome.
That's my scoop.
That's awesome. So how a couple questions from like the branding standpoint, right? How did you kind of find your niche or niche or whatever people call it these days inside of who your ideal client is?
I actually was my ideal client to a certain degree, and now actually I've kind of extended up the food chain a little bit. But I come at the coaching that I do from being a leader in tech. I had a 20-year career in tech, mostly in software product development, in all those roles where you have one leg in the tech side and one leg in people and process. So project management, account management, product management, all that kind of stuff. I quit coding in 2003 and I'm not sad about it. But I largely was helping people early in the very beginning of my career. I actually got laid off twice during the tech wreck of the early 2000s. And so I had to figure out, like, how the hell do I look for a job and land a job whenever everything is chaotic? Because as chaotic as tech is right now, now people are laying off to make more money and then they're bringing people back. Then, like, nobody made any profit. It was all paper, the NASDAQ was crazy. It was a different dynamic. So I had to figure it out, hack it for myself. Then I started trying to help my friends hack it. And then during the Great Recession, I did a lot more of that with people that were in project management and business analysis. I was basically teaching my friends how to get jobs that they would like. By then I had figured out that they would like part. And it's just extended over the years to change breadth, but mostly has been in that same lane. I'd say 70% of the people that I've worked with over the last 10, 11 years have been in tech in some way. Originally started with a lot of individual contributors, but they knew their stuff. They weren't like fresh off the truck, fresh out of college or anything like that. They had good experience. And then I started getting into more people that were managing projects and large teams and executives of teams over time. So it was people that I was or worked with.
Mm.
I also had a degree of like when I think about my niche, I think more about psychographics than I do demographics. So the whole notion of growth mindset and wanting to invest in coaching instead of looking at it as a quick fix that I have to see how much it costs is really important, because really managing your career and your job search correctly is a strategic game more so than it is a kind of reactive game, which is a kind of a hard thing to sell whenever the economy feels weird. But that's one of the top things I try to get across. And anything that I create, from a single coaching call or a product all the way up through my most expensive coaching programs, I try to keep that in mind. We need to look at this as an investment, that we are being intentional with whatever is happening. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the story of how I got there and how I thought of my niche. Over time, I developed a lot of relationships with people in HR, recruiting, and like L&D and talent development. So I would consider that a secondary specialty of mine that I really enjoy, especially for
Mm.
people that maybe they worked in those fields in a tech company, because I understand both of those things. So that's how I got there.
That's awesome. So we'll talk a little bit later on in the episode kind of about like what it is that you actually do and what makes you different. But talk about like on the surface level, right? So somebody's listening to this and they're like, wow, like what Diana's talking about, like I probably need that, or I know somebody that needs that. Why should somebody make an investment in a career coach in what it is that you do versus trying to go in today's environment to tackle this on their own?
The biggest reason is that the volume of people applying for jobs right now, especially, I'm going to talk mostly on the job search side since that's really top of mind right now, and that's where people get the
Mm.
most concerned. On the job search side right now, the in the advent of online applying in general, and then layering in that there's now tools for I will automatically apply to however many dozen jobs, has
Yeah.
actually made this more important than ever before. Because
Mm.
now, where there might have been 30 people that applied for a job, there might be 300 or 500 people apply for a job. And so the
Mm.
strategic elements of making sure that you are actually targeting the right things that you're qualified for and messaging around is really important, as well as strategically networking. And a lot of people simply don't know how to do that. If you think about a lot of the people that have been laid off, from some of the big tech companies and from some of the, reductions in force in the federal government, a lot of them have been at a place for a decade or longer. They've leveraged internal relationships for everything. And because their organization is large, they kind of forgot how to think about approaching the market strategically outside. They feel like, I
Mm.
don't have any network outside my company anymore. I don't know what to do. And we can help people figure out how to think through the people they already know, as well as how to think through meeting new people and tell the story of what they did, of what value they bring. Everybody
Mm.
tends to start with, they tend to start with like, what tasks did I do? And thinking about how did I move the needle is really important. Then when you layer on how do I think about investment, my average client makes anywhere between 150 and $250,000
Mm.
a year. Like that's kind of the level that I work with. There's some higher and some lower, but that's $3,000 to $5,000 a week, every single week that you're out of work. If
Mm.
you are not getting noticed because you are not approaching a job search with intentionality, you are losing $3,000 to $5,000 a week. So if you come to me and I have a $3,000 to $5,000 program, which is fairly average for a lot of the stuff I work on, 1 week earlier of landing in a job pays for it.
Mm.
And to me, the risk of that, like, what if it takes longer? There's no way to know how much faster you get a job, but that's a pretty low risk, all things considered, when we
Mm-hmm.
know that the average search takes 5 to 7 months in a good economy when you are not a high level executive.
Yeah. No, I love the kind of back to where you originally started. Like, this is an investment. It's an investment in your future. It's an investment in finding the right thing. Like, we're not even talking about what happens if they try to go do this on their own and then they find the wrong job, and then not only are they in the wrong thing, like that's a whole other conversation, right? We're talking about just them doing it. But the reason why I wanted to ask you that is I've been seeing so much on LinkedIn, right, where these people are struggling for months and months at a time to find a job, and I totally get it. But a lot of them are going back to work at the wrong job for way less than they should be making because it's a tough job market that's out there, but they're not getting separated. Like, they're not separating themselves the right way. They're just in the pool of everything else. And there's some really talented people that are out there, but it's just a different environment that it doesn't make sense for you to try to go in at this alone.
Yeah, it's, one thing that I've heard a lot from clients that I work with, and like our mutual friend Angie Callan, who kind of works in a similar space than I do. We have never heard so often, I've never had to actually look. Like, we have
Mm,
people that have, maybe they're in a 25-year career and they have changed jobs a few times. They're not the person that's been at the same place that they started out at college, but they
yeah.
never had to look because they were always able to either apply and get hired, interviewed and hired quickly, or they use their network, and the opportunities are just different and the dynamics are different because, like I said, like 10, 20, even more X applicants are happening for a lot of these roles, many of
Mm,
whom are not communicating their qualifications.
mm,
So there's just a lot
yeah.
happening.
So talk to me a little bit about, I know we were kind of chatting before the episode, but like, how does Diana grow her business from an authority standpoint? How are people finding you? What are some strategic marketing stuff? Obviously, I know you post a lot on, like, do some really good stuff on LinkedIn. You're all on social platforms. You speak on stage, but what has like truly worked and moved the needle for you?
Would say referrals are the top thing, and what surprises a lot of people is that I get a substantial amount of business by referrals from other coaches.
Mm,
So in the career coaching space, most of us, especially after a couple of years, we're leaning into something. We're leaning into an industry sector or a type of role that works in
mm,
multiple industries, things like that. And so by knowing, if I know, oh, well, my friend Brent works with people in finance, especially, early career people, and so over here, Judy works with people that are transitioning teachers, and Michael is an expert in helping people transition from federal to private sector or the other way around. Like, those kinds of things, just helping people out with making sure they know who you are. That
mm.
label of no BS career coach for leaders in tech, which the no BS career coach my clients gave me. I didn't come up
That's
with that.
awesome. That's awesome.
And then leaning into that sector has been really powerful because people think of that whenever they think of me. And I've had past clients and peer coaches are two of my top sources of referrals.
Mm,
Um, I also find that weirdly my college ties are another place because I'll
mm.
be friends with somebody, from back 25, 30 years ago. God, I graduated almost 30 years ago from college. And these are people that, like, I drank beer in the basement of Sigma Nu with in
Mm.
1995, and
Yep.
we've been maybe connected
Mm.
online, lightly hanging out in the comments, but they're watching what I write and they're watching what I do. And then maybe they heard that somebody else we all went to college with all drank beer in the basement of Sigma Nu, or insert, event here, we
Mhm.
start to cross pollinate. So
Yeah.
those are some of the top things. So it's a lot of social, a lot of referral, and a lot of just trying to stay top of mind by having content out there.
Yeah. So what a lot of what I heard as well is kind of like summarizing is building authority where other people know, like, and trust you, and also using what your feedback you're getting from your clients and niching down to know who your ideal client is. That your clients came up with that tagline, and other people who know that you are the go-to and the specialist or specialist and the specialist and the authority subject matter expert in what it is that you do leads to clarity of other people knowing when to bring Diana in. That's the best place to be because other people are going and building your business for you.
Yeah. I have plenty of areas that I'm working on. Like you and I were talking beforehand, like I had in my head this notion that I couldn't have a Google business page
Mm,
because like I'd heard so many stories of like, you got to do these video things. I'm like, I work out of my house. How do I think about it?
yeah.
And so
Yep.
I've been working on, I need to do significant work on social proof because I want to pull more clients in and I eventually
Sure.
want to build a community and more scaled stuff instead of just one-to-one. But it all goes
Mm.
back to the same thing. The notion of this is my brand, this is what I'm an expert with, and I'm clear. It doesn't matter where I go to for that, whether it's
And
TikTok, a Google business page, LinkedIn, Facebook, something else. It all boils back to who am I serving and have I done well at serving them?
yeah, love it. So talk to us a little bit about like what services you offer, right? So somebody needs your help. They're listening to this episode. They know somebody. They're like, Diana, how can you help?
Okay. I've got I've got a couple different lanes. So the primary lane that I'm getting the most business on in 2024 and 2025 is strategic job search coaching.
Mm,
And I have things for a lot of different price points in that realm. So I've got a digital product that's $150 to try to figure out how to kind of DIY your own strategic job search. And I have single coaching calls and then programs all the way up to $5,000 or $6,000, depending on how long they
mm,
are. So
mm,
I've deliberately created that. I work with most clients one-on-one over the course of a few months, trying to dial things in. And it's not just about what are the boxes you need to check for a search. I'm basically a partner walking alongside people with
mm,
whatever they're trying to do in their job search. So we figure out real quick, what do you need? Then on the career transition side, and the kind of the leadership and development side, a lot of what I do with people is in the monthly coaching retainer thing. The goals are more open ended. They unfold more as we go through. And so I will typically work with people either once or twice a month in a kind of a subscription or retainer arrangement one-on-one. And then I'm working hard to create community among the people that I'm working with. So dip my toe in by implementing office hours every month so people can show up and get to know everybody else that are
mm.
working on not just the same things. So I do mix my leadership development people and my job search people on purpose because since we're all in the same niche, well, someday the job seeker is going to be the person that needs leadership help, or maybe the executive that has experience hiring can give some ideas to the person currently in a search. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I've got going on.
I love the community aspect, and that was something I started building about a year and a half before we relaunched our digital marketing agency. And it was just so cool to see like it's so much more than what Adam or Diana brings to the table. Because as you mentioned, there are people inside there that start teaching other people, and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, I'm actually learning more from them than they're probably learning from me. So building that sense of community, I think, is a evolution of what we are doing on the foundation and the day-to-day stuff that allows the legacy of what we're building to have a ripple effect, right? And that's one of the coolest things to see.
Yeah. And I haven't done a ton on that. It just like there's always a million projects to do. You have to figure out how to prioritize. And I just had whoops, hello, AirPod that falls out of my ears. Um, I just had a client say, like, could we have a Slack? Like, could you make us a Slack? And I've never made a Slack for my business. I've had a Facebook group for a while, but I'm probably going to be implementing that because they're like, we don't like, I want to get the in between sessions inquiries out of my inbox. So I'd been thinking about that
Yes.
already.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, just the very act of having a Slack is something I'm probably going to do in the next few weeks that can be, set up so my clients have a private area. And I may even extend that to people that don't want to be on Meta products or on
Mm.
Facebook because LinkedIn groups suck. and nobody finds them. So that's
It's a
another way I
rabbit
thought
hole
of
for
creating
sure.
community. What is one of
That's
your favorite,
awesome.
what's some of your favorite ways that have worked on creating community that isn't necessarily like, here's my monetized mastermind or my whatever $97 a month thing. What's working for you?
Yeah, so our free Facebook group that you're a member in as well has been a great lead generator, both for our mastermind that we have a monthly subscription for, or yearly subscription with multiple calls a week, as well as our done for you digital marketing agency and some of my one-to-one coaching stuff. I just post in there every single day, 7 days a week. And some of the stuff, I mean, most of it, you see it, it's like one or two liners. It's more about the activity of, I schedule those things out usually at like two or 3 weeks, if not a month. And so it's not like I'm on there every single day being like, man, I really need to post in here and grow my group. But it's more about the consistency that at any given day, somebody can pop in that group, get value and information, and or just see my stuff. So it helps elevates, right, the Adam McChesney and Builders of Authority brand simultaneously. So I think it's one of those things that just continues to like rise at top of funnel. It's not the thing that's ever going to like blow up per se, but it's the thing that's consistent and disciplined time and time again. Yeah. Branding. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. So Diana, where can people stay connected with you online, whether that's a website, social media, all that stuff? And then if there's anything that you want to leave the audience with as well, we'll finish up the episode doing that.
Yeah, sure thing. I hang out the most on LinkedIn. My name's Diana Alt. I'm pretty easy to find. And my website is dianaalt.com. So those are the two best places to start. All my socials are also on my website. You can find me. For people that are in the mode, like they either are in this mode themselves or they have a friend in this mode, if someone is in the middle of a job search that is just not working, I created a short mini training about the top job search mistakes that is cleverly at jobsearchmistakes.com. So people can go and grab that, get a little bit of an insight and kind of get into the world that is my email list, which is a lot of fun. And then similarly, a lot of people are sometimes kind of in an uncomfortable mode and they want to know, is it time to leave? And so if you go to isittimetowalk.com, then you'll get access to another mini training that just kind of helps walk you through a little bit. Is it legit to think about leaving your job? And that doesn't mean like quit your job tomorrow, because that's a very tense thing to do when the job market feels weird, but it's about starting to make your moves. So
that's awesome. Well, I love from a branding standpoint, I love those URLs. I love the methodology behind that. Really enjoyed our conversation, Diana, and thank you so much for coming on. I know the episode is going to get a lot of good feedback. I know there's people out there that are listening that are like, hey, I feel like Diana is speaking to me, or my friend reached out and said, hey, they were having this issue. So I know you're going to be able to help a lot of people through this episode.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Adam. It was a great time.
Thank you again to Diana, and thank you again to our amazing sponsor, Go High Level, for sponsoring the show. Without them, we aren't able to produce the quality of content like we did today here at Adventure Unknown and with our incredible guest, Diana. Make sure to check out a free and extended 30-day trial of GHL with tons of Builders of Authority bonuses, as well as make sure to leave us a 5-star review. We're making a big push for reviews this year, and it definitely helps move the needle. Remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.